Mxiety, Twitch partner, mental health talk show host, and Streamloots partner here for Streamloots Strong to talk to you about mental health and what to do to keep up our mental health as we stream. So, quick disclaimer, and the most important one, I am not a mental health professional, and all of my tips and advice come from personal experience. I live with depression, anxiety, and ADHD, and I've managed to accomplish a few things as a streamer. So I've been able to navigate my own mental health as I work through my own issues. I've been able to talk about mental health on Stream Live. So I hope the few of these tips might be able to help you. However, it does not replace medical advice or advice from a mental health professional. So with that all being said, let's get started. Our mental health can struggle immensely as we deal with streaming issues. Streaming is by no means an easy thing, no matter what anybody tells you to do. There's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of things you have to do at once, not just while you're streaming, but also after stream, TikTok and Instagram and Twitter and all of those things. It's super, super stressful. And you have to be able to maintain your mental health somehow. And people talk about self-care a lot. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is discuss what the heck self-care is. So self-care is just, I know this is gonna be wild, but ready? It's just taking care of yourself. So anything is self-care that is caring for you. So whether that it's making sure that you get a sip of water when you're thirsty, or just in general to keep your body going, making sure that you can go outside and take a walk if that's possible for you at least once a day. All of those things are self-care, but it doesn't have to be this like big, like I have to sit down for a bubble bath and candles. Not everybody has time for that. So I just want to get those misconceptions out of the way as well. So with all that being said, let's get started. So tip number one is the most difficult tip because it is the most difficult thing that I have ever done and continue to try to do. Unplug. Completely walk away from things. I actually did it this weekend before I recorded this video, and my mood this weekend at the end of the day on a Sunday compared to last weekend at the end of the day on a Sunday when I had all these things going on is vastly, vastly different. The thing is, there's this idea that we have to be constantly plugged in. We have to be constantly streaming. True, when you're streaming, people can find you. When you're live, more people will follow you. You'll get subscriptions, all of that good stuff. But the thing that doesn't make a lot of sense but makes all the sense at the same time is the fact that you need to take breaks in order to be your best. So a short-term goal would definitely be stream as long as possible, sit on Twitter when you're not streaming, and make sure you're constantly plugged in and in the know 24/7. Well, that doesn't work in the long run. In the long run, if you want a body and mind that will work for you and will make you a good entertainer on top of your game, making sure you're providing amazing content for people, you have to take breaks. I'm sorry, as soon as they figure out how to make us cyborgs, we'll definitely all convert to that, and then we can stream 24/7 as we tweet all the time, as we TikTok all the time. But they haven't figured that out yet. So in the meantime, you have to take breaks. And not just any break, I mean completely unplug. Put your phone away and walk away from it. That seems impossible. Start with just like literally 5 minutes. Do it for 5 minutes. Set your phone down for 5 minutes and go and make some tea or coffee and just sip it without looking at your phone. Maybe look outside, hang out with your animal that you might have at home or whatever. I know my puppy loves attention. Completely unplugging is crucial, and that is something that I try to do at least once a day, at least stepping away for 5 minutes. If you can do it longer, if you can do it for the whole day, that's awesome. But I realize that there's a lot of stress attached to streaming and it feels like you have to be on. I'm here to tell you, after 3.5 years, you don't have to be on all the time. However, I know that some people need to learn that lesson on their own, so I'm not here to pretend that I followed that advice to start. But yeah, take 5 minutes for yourself and just see how you feel, and you might feel awesome. That being said, whether you're completely disconnected or not, you might want to consider finding friends that are actual streamers just like you. So I know this is easier said than done, but hanging out on Twitter, finding people with mutual interests, talking to them here and there, and then being able to say, hey, would you mind if I talk to you in DMs? And then maybe you can connect and continue the conversation. but it's super crucial to have other streamer friends because they understand what you're going through. They understand the pressures that you're going through. It's especially helpful to have streamer friends who are kind of on the same level as you are, whether in viewership or how many years you've streamed, because you have that much more in common and that much more to connect on. I would not be where I am today if I didn't have the 3 people that I rely on very heavily to talk to when things are going rough, or when I don't believe in myself, or when I feel like my content all sucks. They are people that remind me to take breaks. They are people that remind me not to put so much pressure on myself. And they are people that support me and root for me when things are going well. So finding people who will do those things for you is critical. I really cannot understate it. So I highly recommend it. I know it's another one that's easier said than done, but the difference it makes, instead of treating people like they are competition, treating them like equals, like peers, like colleagues, woo, man, it took me like 2.5 years to figure that out. But once I did, like my entire mental health while I stream has changed for the better. It's wild. In that note, also following my own advice has been a journey, but we'll get to that, I guess, another time. Connected to that, for point number 3 is hanging out with friends offline. So what does that mean? It doesn't have to be streamer friends. These could be your family. These could be people you're close to that have nothing to do with streaming. What is that for? It helps set things in perspective. Also, it's super healthy to hang out with people who are not in the streaming space, just because you need all kinds of interaction. You don't just need one kind of person, one kind of thing. That being said, maybe all of your friends are streamers and that's totally awesome. Maybe you can find a way to hang out with them IRL. Maybe you can join a meetup. I know once COVID and everything is over, but regardless of that, finding a way to connect with people and hang out offline, whether you're just playing Animal Crossing offline or just playing a game that you always play and stream offline for yourself, always makes a huge difference. Anything basically to reconnect, recharge, and remind yourself that the world does not hinge in streaming. Sometimes it can feel like it and you can get really wrapped up in the rat race of everything, but you don't have to. The world does not start and end with streaming, and it's very, very, very important to remind yourself of that by pulling yourself away, and if you can't go completely offline, hanging out with friends maybe, and just playing games for fun, just doing stuff for fun. Go out and like throw a ball if you can. I don't know, something for fun, whatever you think fun is, just don't hurt anybody, okay? Yeah, okay, that sounds like you got it. Point number 4 is, we've talked before about setting goals as a streamer and how to follow through with them. So I highly recommend you watch that video. But something else to note is that you have to figure out how those goals can be modified for you on a day-to-day basis. So being flexible with them, learning that, hey, things are going to happen that I have no control over. Sometimes, you start streaming and then there's like a big Overwatch game going on. And so all of your viewership is over there because that's what they want to watch right now. And that's totally okay, because people have free will. Nobody can steal your viewers. People have free will and they can do what they want. But if numbers closely affect your mental health, I know they do for me often, as much as I would pretend and would like for them not to, they do. Making sure that the goals you set are flexible and resetting goals that are a little bit more realistic for you consistently is important. So how do I do this? What do I mean? So at the end of a stream, instead of saying, okay, how many people followed me today? Maybe something that you can measure yourself by is saying, did anybody else say something nice about me? Like maybe I helped them brighten their day, or maybe I helped them figure out something about the game that they were playing because I was playing it and they were able to see the walkthrough and whatever it is. Was there something else going on that you can set a goal on that isn't necessarily numerical and that is a little bit more flexible than your long-term goals? Just taking a moment and reflecting and keeping that momentum of sticking with yourself and grounding is super, super important, and figuring out what you need in that moment and what goals you need in that moment is also super important. We've finally gotten to our 5th point. I know, it's super sad too. And this might be counterintuitive to what I'm doing, but adjust all of these to suit your own needs. I know quite a few streamers who are not neurotypical, meaning they have autism or ADHD, or they have depression, anxiety, bipolar, other mental health issues. So all of those things make for big challenges for us. Listening to tips is super important, but figuring out how those tips can work for you, adjusting them in small little ways, in ways that can make a difference for you, are super incredible. So for example, staying consistent is a tip that everybody gives you. Stay consistent. Try to stream at the same time every day. That way people know when to catch you. And that's all awesome. But if you are not neurotypical or live with another mental health issue, it's very difficult to stay consistent. So maybe consistency for you is every other day worth of streams. Or maybe consistency for you is just making sure you let your community know in Discord every day whether you're streaming or not. That's a type of consistency. So that's a great example. Take something that's general advice, take any advice that I just gave you, and make it work for you. Don't be afraid to bend the rules so that they make sense to you. Streaming is meant to be a really fun experience that you're able to do on your own time, on your own terms. And if you're going to be constantly following rules and then beating yourself up for, oh my God, well, I know I didn't get so many viewers. It's because I didn't follow all the rules and I wasn't consistent and I wasn't this and I wasn't that. Yes, those things can absolutely help. But there are other things that you can do to make up for where you lack, to kind of balance things out. It's totally okay to have these struggles. I want to remind you that you are by far not alone. And living with mental health issues sucks. Trying to stream or actually hold any job, especially a job with so much pressure as streaming, sucks even harder. So I just want to remind you again that you are not alone, that you matter, that your struggles matter. And honestly, if you take nothing away from this, it's okay not to be okay. And when you're not okay, it's okay to cancel that stream. If the people in your community respect you and love you, they will understand, and in fact, they will encourage you. You can stop by any of my streams and check them out, and you will see that my community actually encourages me to take days off. It's really freaking cool, and yeah, kind of a bragging right. So here I am talking about them. I love my community. Mwah. So that's it. I hope some of these tips help. Do you have anything that you do to help your anxiety, depression, or any other kind of mental illness? Maybe you live with bipolar or borderline personality. Give us your tips down below. Of course, nobody is a professional. Please only discuss your experience. Do not give tips to others, even in the comments below. But I do hope to see you soon. And don't forget, in the meantime, Streamloots is with you every step of the way. I'll see you soon. Bye!